Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cough in your ear. I just, the camera's been acting goofy lately and not starting to record when I push the record button, so I thought I had a couple seconds there. So, anyway, it's Tuesday, and I thought I better jump on here and make a video. Um, or, as Rox says, it's Tuesday. I like how she says it. I say it's Tuesday, like Chewsday. Anyway, very late, but hey, at least I'm here, right? I think my camera's a little bit off today. Is that better? Maybe a little bit more centered. Oh, and I have a sweatshirt on the back of my chair and I got the heater running. I should turn it off because it's probably making a bunch of noise and sounding all over noisy. Over noisy. Yeah, that's a word. Um, let's see. I had a rough day at work today. A while back, I told you guys about um, that whole Sunday off dealy bob that happened. And the one woman who's in charge of the houses that I work in that is not my boss, but acts like she is. She's gone. I don't know if I told you guys that or not, but what happened was they transferred her to a different location, and so we have a new guy in charge of the houses that I work in now. Um, so I haven't decided about him yet, but so far, I mean, he's treating me fair. Um, I He doesn't live in the town that I work in. I don't either, but he apparently doesn't like to come to the town I work in. The town I work in is my hometown, um, and well, nobody can afford to live in that town right now. But I mean, no, I can't afford to live in that town or to own property in that town. The taxes are just way too high, um, and property is very high there as well. So anyway, um, so he doesn't know his way around the town, and he needed to. Okay, let me step back a second. I take the guys that I work with on Tuesdays. It's been kind of an ongoing thing that I take them grocery shopping on Tuesday evenings. Um, and normally, the other woman, I was going to give you a name, but I refer to her as Dipshit. Um, she would always, we have two houses side by side. I work in one of them. The other one, there's another staff person working in, and there's an office in there for us. And for that town, there, the company I work for, the main office is in Columbus, and then this office is in a smaller town. It's the town that I work in, and it's in the house. So it's one of the bedrooms in the house, and they have desks for the staff to work at, and then there's mailboxes in there for everybody that works in that town at all the different houses. So I would go in on Tuesdays, and in my mailbox there would be checks written to Kroger for me to take the guys grocery shopping, and sometimes there would be a note saying, he can spend this much and he can spend that much. This guy number one can spend say 80, and guy number two can spend 60 or something like that. Um, so anyway, since the new guy, Edward is the new guy in charge of the houses. Um, and since he's been there, he's asked me if I would be willing to continue going to the store, and I said, yeah, you just have to leave a check. I'm trying to get them to convinced to understand that the guys could save some money if I could take them to Aldi instead of to Kroger all the time. Um, uh, there's also a Meijer in town, but I wouldn't take them there because I think they're high on food. Um, and then the Walmart in town is probably one of the few remaining Walmarts that's not a super Walmart. So it doesn't have groceries. It has, like a row of food stuff, but it does not have a full grocery in it. So that wouldn't make sense to go there either. Anyway, so, okay, today, the reason I'm already at 5 minutes and I haven't even told you what happened today. Okay, today I needed to pick up a few things and I needed to stop at Walmart. I wasn't going to take the guys to Walmart because I know one of my guys would want to go look at all the movies in the store, and then he would be, saying, how much money do I need to save to get this? And then every time he goes to the workshop, he'd, figure out how much money he made, and he'd say, now I have enough money to buy XYZ, movie or whatever. And that wouldn't be the case because, you have to then sit him down and say, remember, we have to pay rent, we have to pay your cable, we have to pay your phone, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and it just would have been more hassle than it was worth. And I would have been doing my shopping, not theirs. I'm not supposed to do that. So, anyway, so I went to Walmart before I went to work and got a few things that I needed. Then I left there and I was on my way to my doctor's office to get my allergy shot. And I had it timed, so I had enough time to get my allergy shot. You have to wait afterwards so they can make sure you don't have a reaction, because if you have a reaction, you have to have epinephrine, and the doctor has to monitor you and all of that. Okay, so you have to wait a half hour after your shot. Okay, so I had it all planned out. Get the shot, wait the half hour, drive back across town to the guy's house, and I'd be there in time at 4 o'clock, right? No, that's not how it worked. Edward called and said, can you come in early? I need you to take me to the bank so I can get a printout of what the guys have in their account, because when the other lady when I took over for dipshit, she didn't have any records. Everything was a mess. So I need to find out what they have and how much they can spend, and we need to pay the cable bill. And the cable bill was so far behind that it was cut off yesterday or Sunday or sometime like that. So they had to pay to get it turned back on, but they're still like a month behind. Dipshit was doing her job really well, huh? Anyway, so, okay, I know where guy number 1 banks. I don't have any idea where guy number 2 banks, because when I take him to the grocery store, I don't look to see what bank the check's written on. So I drive Edward and the 2 guys. My car's a small SUV, a very small SUV, and Edward and one of the guys are over 6 feet tall, and the other guy is probably 5'10". So it's kind of crowded in a very small SUV. So anyway, we're all crammed in my car. I take Edward out to that bank. I find out when we get there that he really wants me to talk to the tellers, because Edward's from South Africa, and even though he's been here a long time, he is a little bit difficult to understand. So, okay, so I go up to the teller and I tell her the first guy's name, and I said, I need a printout for January and February for this guy of his checking account. And she looks him up in the computer and she's like, what's his first name? And I told her, and she said, I'm not showing anyone by that name. So the guy pulls out his ID and shows it to her, and she looks again, and she said, I got nothing for this guy. I'm freaking out going, did dipshit, close his account, take all his money, or what? So I went ahead and got it for the second guy. And so I went over and said, Edward, what bank does the first guy go to? Oh, it's a different bank. It's not this bank. So, okay. So we have to go then to the second bank, which is across town. There's one branch left in town. I didn't know for sure if there were any. So I did like a Google search on my phone to see, if there was a branch still open. So we drive downtown to that branch. And, you got to deal with the parking and all of that. And then, okay, so we go in there, get the printout from him. Then we have to drive back across town because we have to go to the cable company to pay the cable bill. Well, we get there and we got to the cable company at probably about 5 o'clock. And guess what? The cable company closed at 4:30. So that was a no-go. Okay, so we got done there. We drove back to the guy's house. I dropped off Edward because his car was there. He gave me checks. So then I took the guys to the grocery store. And plus, remember, I went to Walmart before this. I got pop, I got some other stuff. So the back end of my very small SUV has my groceries in it because I had to move them out of the half of the back seat, or not groceries, but my stuff in it because I had to move them out of the other half of the back seat so we could get 4 people in my car. So now I get to Kroger with the guys and I've got to transfer all this crap out of the back of my SUV to the front seat. It's just easier if they know that everything behind the seats is their stuff when we get done at the store. So I got to transfer all the stuff back out of the way. Going crazy, right? So then I got to walk all through the store, and as we're going through the store, I usually keep a tally of, guy number one has, he bought 2 cans of ravioli. They were 10 for 10, so that's $2. And then he bought a gallon of milk. That's $2.89. So now he's basically at $5. And so I keep a running tally. This half of the page is for guy one. This is half the pages for guy two. All through the store, I'm doing this because we're only supposed to spend, 50 for guy one and 60 for guy two, or something like that. That's, basically the only way I know to do it without having 2 calculators running in my hands at all times. And on top of that, trying to make guy number one, who happens to be deaf and doesn't understand all sign language, he does understand some, but trying to get him to understand that he can't get everything he wants. Number one, he doesn't have enough money. And number two, he's a diabetic. And of course he wants, cereal. What's he want? What kind of cereal does he want for breakfast? All that sugar-coated chocolate stuff. And I'm like, sorry, you can't have that. It's bad for you. And he's like, giving me these sad faces, and I keep saying, sorry. Anyway, so we finally get through the store. Now, if we're in a store and I need something, I am allowed to pick up stuff, but not take them to a store for me to buy my stuff. So, I picked up a couple things that I couldn't get at Walmart that were at Kroger. And then we got home from that, back to their house. Okay, I went in to work before 3:30. We got back to their house, groceries unloaded in the house, and it was 6:30, I think. And I put like 16 miles on my car just driving around town. This is not a big city that we're driving around in 16 miles, It's a town. It's not that big. Anyway, so I got all done with that, and I was just going to sit down and start my paperwork, and the staff in the house next door comes over and she says, "Did you stop at the pharmacy and pick up meds for guy one?" And I said, "I totally forgot." And I knew they were there because when I worked on Friday, I had to call in. Well, I didn't have to call in. I always check when I'm there, and saw that one of his prescriptions had like 4 pills left. So I called it in for a refill. And when I knew that, no, it had less than 4 because I knew that it would be out before I came to work on Tuesday. They would need it by Monday. So there must have been Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays left. Okay. So when I got there today, before I took Edward and the guys to the banks and all of that running around, I checked the med box to make sure that someone had picked it up, and they hadn't. The empty bottle was in the med box. So I knew before I left to go running that I needed to stop at the pharmacy on the way back from the grocery store. But I totally forgot because by the time we were done in that grocery store, I was getting pretty tired of running. And when Edward asked me to come in early and everything, all he said was, "We're going to go to the bank and get a printout for these guys." That's it. So I thought, okay, we'll get a printout. He'll give me checks. I'll go to the grocery store. I don't like going to the grocery store after 5 o'clock. It's busier. You know, I tend to go in a little bit early on some Tuesdays just so I can get the grocery store started by 4 o'clock. And just it was frustrating. I don't like shopping anyway. So anyway, so I get back, and I figure out, okay, then she says, "Oh, you gotta go pick up stuff at the pharmacy," and I'm like, this is gonna kill me. I can't believe I'm at 16 minutes and I'm just rambling about this. So anyway, I end up, I sat down, I did all my paperwork up except for the last one. And then I left and went to the pharmacy and picked up that med. Then I passed his meds and did that paperwork. And by then, it was 7:30. And I came in before 3:30, so I'm only supposed to be there 4 hours. So it was time to go. I didn't get out of there till 8 o'clock because Mel next door, the staff next door, needed something, and I had to go over and talk to her. So, okay, Edward is better than dipshit so far. That's my evaluation of that so far. But he's supposed to be working in that house on Mondays and Wednesdays. He didn't get that med picked up on Monday. And could he not have, gone in the office, turned on the laptop, Googled these banks, and printed out a map of how to get there? I could have. I mean, if I'm going to a town I don't know, that's what I do. Am I just being too logical? I don't know. Anyway. Oh, and also, he said when we were at the cable company, he said, "How will I pay this now?" I said, "Well, bring it back another day." He said, "Will you bring it tomorrow?" And I said, "What day is tomorrow?" He said, "Wednesday." I said, "I don't work on Wednesday." He said, "Oh, who works on Wednesday?" I said, "You work on Wednesday." "Oh, yes, I work on Wednesday." Oh, sorry, I don't mean to make fun. "Oh, yeah, I work on Wednesday." And he said, "Will you work on Wednesday?" Well, this is the third week in a row that he's asked me to work either a Monday or a Wednesday. I think it's the third week in a row that he's worked there. Well, I like working with the guys and making a little extra money, so I said yes. And I know all I have to do tomorrow is go and pay the cable bill, and then I'll be at the house. I didn't get any cleaning done at the house today. He's not going to yell at me about it, because there's no way I could have. Anyway, so that's my ramble for today, and I have 1 minute until it's midnight, and this won't be uploaded in 1 minute. So it's my Tuesday vlog. It's going to end up coming up for you guys on Wednesday. So whatever, I guess I'll deal with that. And yeah, I'm going to get going. I hope everyone's doing well, and I will talk to you all soon. And I didn't even get to talk about what I'm knitting right now. Okay, my phone just chirped, and yeah, it's midnight, and whatever. Hey, everybody take care. See y'all later.